Hello, everyone. First of all, congratulations to all those who have secured admissions to their Dream B schools. And those who are not able to cross the line this time, no need to feel disheartened. You just need a little bit of consistency and some really good guidance, and you will be able to secure admissions to your Dream B school next year. So, this video is particularly for those students who will be joining B schools in the coming days or have already joined. So, this is basically like a cheat sheet or something that will guide you through the process of how to survive and thrive in your B school. I have included academics, I have included case competition, projects, and then certifications. I have also included if this is the first time you are residing in a hostel away from home, how to survive and how to just have the best out of these 2 years. So this video is a little long. However, feel free to drag ahead and find whatever is relevant to you. All the best and wishing you a very happy journey for these 2 years. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. So let's start with people who were not able to cross the line this time. So a lot of folks were not able to clear the interviews, didn't score that well in their CAT exam or the other B school exams, or just by a few waitlist, something happened and they were not able to get the college they wanted. And I have given CAT twice, and I have been in a lot of wait lists, so I completely understand what you guys are going through. However, in a very practical manner, I will show you two possibilities or two perspectives of what can be done based on the kind of experience you have or the kind of time you have spent preparing for CAT. So while at the end of the day, it's absolutely your decision. If you feel one more attempt is going to get you to the Dream B school in your mind, then I will absolutely go ahead and advise you to prepare really well and crack this exam and just pursue your dreams. But in a more practical manner, and in my personal opinion, if this was your third attempt, if you have given CAT three times and you have sat through the whole cycle, given the interviews, everything, and you still feel that the B schools that you got were not the ones that you wanted to be in, or let's say you didn't get your dream B school, what then? What then you should do? So according to me, in that case, my advice will be to switch jobs. And you must have one particular domain or one particular specialization. It can be abstract, it can be very niche. There should be something in your mind that you wanted to achieve post your MBA. Maybe you wanted to work in, let's say, analytics, or maybe you wanted to go into marketing from IT. There can be an n number of transformations that you wanted to do. What I would advise is to switch jobs, to try finding jobs in those domains, to upskill yourself through certifications and through other means, doing life projects, doing internships in those fields, and pursue what you wanted without the MBA. And then later, when you have reached a certain stature in that domain, you can pursue the executive MBA. There are a lot of options with, colleges offering MBA for people who are working and people who have, let's say, 7 to 8 years in the industry. So those kind of MBAs are offered by IAMs, all the top IAMs. Then we have ISB, and then you can do it with other major B schools as well. So that would be my advice if this is your third attempt. And the reason behind it is, while I have seen people even with 5 years of work experience getting into good companies and getting good paychecks, but that is not really common. What companies and what HRs prefer is having a work experience of, let's say, 2 to 3 years. That is like the ideal purple patch of work experience you can have. So after that, you get a little less number of shortlists. After that, you get a little less number of interview converts for your placement. So that is why I am a little uncertain of having more than 3 or let's say even 4 years of experience. And if you are not planning to gain experience, then it's even a more troubling aspect, because during your MBA interview itself, you will be judged upon that gap in your resume, right? You will be asked what exactly were you doing, and you might justify it by saying that you were upskilling yourself, doing learning or doing internships and all. But ideally, if it is a long term, then it's advisable to have full-time experience, because that not only gives you brownie points during your interviews for MBA, but during your placements as well. You have experience that weighs a lot more than having no experience. So that is what my advice is if this was your third attempt. Again, repeating, if this is absolutely your personal choice, if you feel there is just one more attempt that is required for you to get your dream MBA, absolutely go ahead with that. And then let's move on to people who had their first or second attempt this time, and they are feeling like, should I stop this journey? Should I jump out of CAT? Is this a good thing for me? Or like, should I try one more time? If this is your first or second attempt, I will really and highly advise you to try it one more time, because see, with this number of attempts, it won't be too much time that you have spent preparing for CAT. And all it requires is for you to get the right kind of preparation course, the right kind of dedication that will take you over the line. So, like, not sponsored by Elite's Grid, but I have taken their course and I personally recommend it very highly. So, if you feel that while preparing, your preparation was not structured, because CAT, unlike other competitive exams, do not require too much of your time. Even if you, let's say, are preparing for 6 months and are able to dedicate 2 hours on a daily basis with complete dedication and consistency, there are very high chances that you will crack this exam. So it's more of consistency and more of a structure as compared to just brute force dedicating your time endlessly. Like, let's say UPSC. UPSC, you need those 12, 13 hours a day to crack that exam because it's a lot of mugging, it's a lot of, learning. But here it is more of your aptitude. It's more of what practice you have given to those concepts that you are learning. So if it's your first or second attempt, I would advise you to take a better coaching, to give it more diligent time and more diligent consistency, and you will be able to get your college next year. All the best, both the people. And then let's move on to this journey. Now, I have got a B school admit. What to do now? So this is a very crucial time, and the coming 2 quarters or the first 6 months of your MBA are going to be really hectic. So this is college diagnostic. You might be in an IIT, you might be in an IIM. It depends like on the kind of culture that your college has. The pressure can be higher till a limit that it's unbearable sometimes, but normally it is more hectic than the rest of your MBA journey. And this first semester also determines how are you going to fare, for the rest of your MBA. And these 2 years are going to determine how are you going to fare for the next 40 years of your life. What important I have observed in all this time is tier one or tier two batch matters till your second or third job, let's say. Beyond that, if you're not performing well in your job, if you don't have the skill set required to justify your paycheck, you will definitely not get opportunities. So even if, let's say, you are from a tier two, tier three branded college, don't dishearten yourself thinking that you are already behind the race. What I would suggest is you take the personal ownership of the growth that you want to see in yourself. You upskill yourself, up your LinkedIn game. That is one of the most crucial and one of the most underrated aspect of MBA. In this degree, as much as you will be taught the theoretical aspect, you need to be well versed with how practical or how the application of this degree works. MBA is all about interactions. MBA is all about knowing what to speak, how to speak, when to speak, and how to write, when to write, what to write, all these things. You need to be really on the top of your game when it comes to presentation. And LinkedIn is literally your digital resume. This is your open source like presentation of what you have done in your life, what you have accomplished in your life. And if your LinkedIn is not up to the mark, recruiters are very smart. They will check your LinkedIn. They will look into the kind of work that you have done and the kind of dedication that you have to your profile. So I would request you to up your LinkedIn game, make connections, make relevant connections, make connections that will help you grow in your future. It's not just left, right, and center, going to the explore tab of your LinkedIn application and just clicking connection, connect to everyone. That does not work very well. So you need to be very focused and targeted about the kind of people you want as your connections. And also, if you are joining a college, you have made up your mind that you are going to join this college this year, I would also advise you to write incoming batch this in this college, because that helps you connect more to your peers. If someone is, getting a LinkedIn request from, let's say, XYZ name and just some company, he might not be that pushed to accept your connection as compared to, let's say, if you are writing incoming batch this college and he's also pursuing MBA, or let's say an alum in the same college or a different college, he will recognize that, all right, this is a student that will be an MBA 2 years later, and I see some value connecting with him or her. So that is what you should definitely do, and work on your resume like your life depends on it. Look, you can gain as many skills as you want, you can do as many things as you want, but it will not benefit you until and unless you have written it well in your CV. If it's not in your CV, it does not matter in terms of jobs. So if you are 90% of MBAs are going to get jobs, and I mean 95% maybe. All you need from an MBA is that platform from where you can grow into the field or the domain that you are interested in. Very less number of people will pursue MBA just for the learning, because the kind of learning that an MBA gives is more about the interactions, as I said, and less about just bookish knowledge that you can get from YouTube as well. So if you want a good job, and importantly for those, it goes for tier one, tier two, tier three, all colleges, but more importantly for tier two and tier three colleges, because you cannot just depend on your placement committee. If you come from, let's say, a lesser known college, you will not see your placement committee bringing in too many good opportunities, or the kind of opportunities that you want, or the kind of domain that you want. So we'll have to take up the ownership and go to LinkedIn and go to other platforms and ask for those opportunities. You need to be proactive in that approach. And what will stand you apart in that kind of situation is your resume. The first conversation you will have like this with any recruiter or any person from the industry, the first thing they will ask is for your resume. So if your resume is not up to the mark, the efforts are not like completely utilized. So make sure you have your resume up to the mark. There are a lot of patterns, there are a lot of formats you can use. I would highly suggest you to use ChatGPT to structure your thought process, but your resume pointer should be authentic and not driven out from ChatGPT, because the first line of checkup is itself like a checkup against ChatGPT. So if they identify that your resume is just a copy paste from an LLM model, they might not be that much interested in hiring you. They need some critical thinking. They need some input from your end as compared to from an LLM model. Everybody knows that that can be done. So the checkups are right there, and you won't even know why you got rejected. And then if we move forward, how to excel in your B school journey. So we talked about resumes, we talked about LinkedIn, but there are four broad categories you can divide your B school journey in. The first one is academics, then we have case competitions, then we have life projects, and then we have certifications. Now, out of these four, you cannot compromise on anyone. So there, it cannot be a situation where you just leave academics. You are getting 5, 6 CGPA. I mean, I have heard cases wherein people with 5 CGPA have gotten great placements as well, but I am damn sure you don't want your odds to be that less. So make sure, while I tell that, whatever about these, you need to take all four of them together consistently. But the caveat here is, if you master any two of them and then do average in all four, you understand, master any two of them and the other two can be average, then that will give a very big push to your B school journey, to your potential recruiters, and to the kind of job and the kind of opportunities you will get post your MBA. Now, how to determine which four should I be working on? Academics is plain and simple. If you really want to excel, and if you are thinking about, let's say, being the 9 CGPA guy, and being the top of the class, definitely you will need to dedicate a lot of time, and you will have to be very active in classes, because class participation has a lot of contribution. So you need to be very active in the classes, you need to make notes, you need to learn, you need to apply those learnings in the projects, and you need to be a good person in front of the faculty, because that matters as well. Your attendance matters, everything matters. If you don't want all that, if you are not that fluent with, let's say, theoretical learning, then an average CGPA will also work. Not a lot of companies emphasize on your CGPA. They do have a lower limit, but if you are scoring an average CGPA, that works. And it is relative grading anyhow in B schools, most B schools. So relative grading basically means that if, let's say, your class is scoring on an average of 70, then the toppers will not need to be in 90s. A topper can be an 80 if all the people other than him are behind him. So that is the kind of relative grading that happens in B schools. So you can focus on academics if you feel, and if you think that you can excel here, if you can be that person who is attentive, who is regular in classes, who can dedicate that much time to studies, definitely you can take academics. And then case competitions. So case competition is kind of a wild card placement opportunity that you have. You will have a placement committee, and you will get placements through those committees as well. But case competition gives you that narrow window to get into very good companies with your efforts. So there are a lot of case competitions. Flipkart has one, Amazon has one, L'Oreal has one, P&G has one. Almost all big dream companies have their own case competitions. And also, this is a good way to earn some pocket money as well. So while companies' case competitions are really important, there are colleges that organize case competitions as well. So you can participate in them to just have your learnings, just dry run your learnings about participating in case competitions. And if you win, you will get good amount of money as well from these case competitions. So I would highly recommend you to just go through Unstop. Unstop is the platform wherein you will get most of your MBA case competitions. So keep an eye on Unstop. Make a good team. Make a team that is enthusiastic and also knowledgeable about their domains. So both these things are very required when you are creating teams. You cannot have a team that has an expert in every domain, but they are not enthusiastic about the project. Then the winning chances are anyways very low, because enthusiasm is the first thing that will take you over. You will have your academics, other commitments, and then if you are not excited about the case competition that you are participating in, the winning chances are anyways very low. So case competitions is yet another thing that you should focus on. And then these case competition, if you win, like even if you are a finalist or a semi-finalist, they will offer you a pre-placement interview. So pre-placement interviews can be for internships as well as for final placements. What happens here? Let's take an example of Flipkart. Let's say if you secure any domain, they have different domains like business analytics, and then they have HR, and then they have operations. So in any of those tracks, if you secure a semi-finalist position, you get the opportunity to have a pre-placement interview with them. And then if you perform good, if you like prove to them why you are like suitable for that role, they will offer you that position. So you will secure your placement, a very good company, a very good role, a very good pay package through case competitions. So this is really important, and you should definitely keep an eye on these. Life projects and certifications, these two are preferable. They will bulk up your resume. They will, if you have a life project in a kind of domain that the placement company that has come for placement is working on or specialize in, your chances of shortlist and then selection are already higher. Same with certifications. And by certification, I by no means say the certifications from Coursera, and no way I'm dissing on them, but it's just that Coursera certifications are easily accessible. You can just go on Coursera, buy, just take a certificate, and then you can just answer the questions through ChatGPT. It's not highly regulated, and that is why its reputation is not that high in terms of the recruiters. By certifications, what I mean is you can get domain specific certifications. Let's say, for example, if you want to specialize in finance, you can have CFA. If you are not, not if you cannot dedicate that amount of money, because CFA requires money, and I would highly suggest you go to your college administration and check if they have scholarships for CFA, because most of the B schools do offer scholarships for CFA. And if that is possible for finance domain, CFA level 1 or level 2 preferably, but level 1 as well, offers a lot of visuality. It will give you a lot of optics. When the recruiter sees your profile and sees that CFA level 1, level 2, it will identify your resume as highly suitable and you will get a shortlist. So that is there. Alongside that, if you are not planning to take finance as a core, but yet you are interested in the domain and want to just have an introduction or just want to have something in terms of certification, NISM courses are definitely advisable. So you can pursue those courses through NISM websites. You can go through them and see which domain suits your profile and your aspirations the most, and you can pursue them. So for certifications, you need to be very specific. For operations, let's say if we see a domain, Six Sigma certification is again something that the recruiters look at very highly. It has started to become a little common. So the kind of bells you have now determine the kind of expertise. So the domain specific certifications are highly advisable and they will give a very polished and a very streamlined view to your resume. If you start to look at your resume as a journey, as a story about yourself, that will be a really good way to present it to a recruiter. You cannot have your resume haywired. Let's say if I am showing one experience from HR and then a completely different experience from operations, and then I'm including somewhere analytics, and then I'm bringing finance somewhere. It is just hodgepodging different stuff together, and it's not a story. It does not point towards anything. It's just abstract, and recruiters don't like that stuff. They want your resume to tell a story. They want you through your resume to tell them a journey. All right, I am interested in finance, and that's why I did this, I did this, I did this. That is how you should structure your resume. Your resume should have your application of concepts. It should have the outcomes. It should have the numbers that you were able to generate, the kind of value that you were able to add through each and every pointer. It is a story and you should tell it very well. And then life projects, very similar to certifications. You should have it with your professors. A lot of opportunities with life projects are there with your professors. So if you are doing academics well, then life projects pair up really nicely. So if you have good rapport with your professors, you should definitely ask them for life projects in their particular domain or the kind of domain aspirations that you have to pursue. So these four things broadly will make your B school journey, will define your B school journey. So you can choose any two of them and become an expert of it, and then average on the remaining two. But you cannot, afford to go down on anything. So yeah, that is that. And let's move forward. Staying away from home, cheat sheet. So if you are lucky enough to get an MBA school, an MBA college close to your home, or just close to your state, let's say, you can leave this video right now because you are blessed and you are lucky. But for people like me who come from Ghaziabad to Chennai, and there is a huge cultural difference, I would really ask you and request you to stay and just learn a few pointers, just take a few pointers from me on how to make this journey a little less troublesome, a little less painful. So, and I'm sharing all this with my personal experience and the kind of experience other people who have come from far off places to here have experienced so far. So just sharing all those pointers. The first thing is establish a support system. B school journey is going to be hard. It might be even more harder for a few colleges, might be a less harder for a few colleges, but anyways, it is going to be very difficult. You are going to be challenged day in, day out. You are going to be emotionally drained. You are going to be physically drained. You will need some support, especially during the placement days, especially when, let's say, you are not getting the kind of companies you want shortlist in, you are not having good interviews, you are not getting into committees that you want in the beginning, and you are not getting clubs that you want to be a part of. So through all that, you need a kind of support that tells you that this is a 2 year long journey. It will come to an end. You will come back. You will have your life as usual. You need not think that this is the end of life or this is all what life is. That kind of external support you definitely require. So I would really urge you, be it your family, be it your friends, be it your spouse, anything, anyone, just make sure you have one call on a daily basis. No matter how tired you feel, no matter how, sometimes you just don't want to have a conversation, but just push yourself to have that even 5 minutes of a conversation with someone that is important and that you think is a support system for you. Really, really important. And then secondly, don't eat for taste, eat for survival. This I learned the hard way. I lost a lot of kgs in the first 2 months of my MBA. And not just me, a lot of people lost a lot of weight because we people who have not experienced hostel life, who do not, who were not forced to stay away from their home for long periods of time, don't have that mental understanding that, all right, even if I'm not liking the food, I anyways have to consume it. I need to give my body those nutrients. I need to give my body that enrichment because the output that you are taking from your body, both mental and physical, is very high. If you were, let's say, in a college before this, and if you were in a job before this, it would have been like high, but not the amount of output that you would be requiring in your MBA. You will be giving quizzes left, right, center. You will be doing assignments. You will be doing stuff. You will be multitasking most of the times, and that leaves very little, scope for not having the kind of nutrients your body requires. Nutrients as well as sleep. So sleep, I didn't mention it, but sleep as well. If you are not eating well, if you are not sleeping well, your body will definitely give up. You will stop performing at the optimal level you should, and that will not be beneficial because every opportunity counts here. So make sure you eat well, you eat sufficient food. Even if it's not good, try to find places that has good food and eat for survival. That would be my advice. And then sleep, at least 6 hours of sleep. I know for you, when you enter the B school, you will remember this video and say 6 hours of sleep, what that guy was talking about, but it is doable. after 1 2 months you will get into the hang of it and you will sleep for 6 hours. But I would advise you to make sure that you give that kind of luxury to your body so that it can have a good rest and then perform at optimal levels. Take a hobby and follow it diligently. It can be very easy for you to stay a lot of times at your hostel room and just do nothing. You can get into a very bad mental state if you are not engaging into the external environment. Sometimes for people who are introvert, it becomes really difficult to interact, and with the added pressure of doing all the stuff, and you are almost forced to be in groups that are unknown to you just to put you in a situation wherein you get comfortable talking to strangers, comfortable making bonds, connections, even if it's not your forte. So if that is happening, make sure that you have something to release that tension, something to release that that aggressiveness. So be it running, be it swimming, be it table tennis, be it badminton, anything whatsoever, just go out, try to find what brings happiness to you, what brings dopamine to you. Just don't scroll through Instagram day in day out. That is like literally the gateway to enter into bad mindsets. Just try to get a hobby, a physical hobby. Even if you want to play any games, CS for that matter, find a group that does that and participate. In this way, you will be able to interact with the external environment, which is really important in your MBA journey. And then explore clubs, not just for CV pointers, but for personal growth. Again, when you are into MBA, everything can look like a CV pointer. And especially for placement folks, they literally see everything as a CV pointer and how to better it. So make sure that if you are joining a club, if you are, let's say, joining dramatics or an NGO club in your college, make sure it's just not limited to a CV pointer. You see it as a way to grow, because those clubs will give you a lot of opportunities to improve your interpersonal skills and improve your hardcore skills as well. But just not don't limit these clubs to your CV pointers. Just not join them for the sake of it because it might look good on your CV. Don't do that. Do it for learning, for personal growth. And then ready to eat snacks. This is like a pairing with the don't eat for taste, eat for survival pointer. So for people coming from north or anywhere, if you are like going from south to north, you will not see the kind of food you are, you are privy to. You know that food. You won't get that food here. You will get very different food, and you might not like it. So an ideal situation is that you bring something that is that will not go bad very early, very soon. So let's say if you are coming from north, you can bring laddus, you can bring matri and stuff like that, that you can keep in your hostel room. It will solve two things for you. First, it will give you a taste of home whenever you need it. And secondly, let's say if you are doing a project that is taking up a lot of your time and you cannot afford to go out and have a snack, you can just take out the food and have it, consume it. This will make sure that you are not hungry, you are not starving. So that is really important. And then manage your expenses carefully. This I cannot emphasize enough. If you are a working professional, if you have spent like 2 3 years in corporate, and you are habitual of using credit cards to make your payments, because that mindset that at the end of the month I will get my salary, I will pay all my credit card dues, that gets into your subconscious sometimes. So even when you enter MBA and you have a capital, you have a saving, even then you spend through your credit cards, and then you have that mindset of okay, I will get my salary and then I will pay, but this time the salary will not come. The amount will go from your savings, and if you have more than two credit cards, it will really become very difficult to track your expenses. And so before you know it, you will be short on cash, you will be short on money. And if you don't have the luxury of asking money, or you don't want to ask money from your parents or your guardians, it is really advisable that you manage your expenses carefully. Monitor your monthly statements, be it credit card, be it your bank statements. Monitor the expenses that you are having. I mean, spend on food. That is the most important thing you can spend your money on. Or certifications, if you have that kind of capital and if you want to pursue a certification, spend on that. But try to minimize your expenses, and more important than that, try to monitor your expenses, because sometimes you are spending on something that you are not even using, and that just takes away your hard-earned money, which you are going to require for these two years. And finally, dance like no one's watching. This journey, no matter how challenging, no matter how transforming, will not come again in your life, because it's a postgraduate course and very few people go for PhDs. Mostly this is going to be the last degree of your life. And for a last degree, MBA is definitely a very good degree to have. What I mean by dance like no one's watching. So sometimes we feel that we are in an environment wherein we cannot explore, we cannot realize our full potential. We don't know what we are good at, but we cannot even experiment because we are surrounded by people and we are afraid to be judged. Now, MBA gives you a 2 years window of realizing your potential, of exploring everything. If you want to learn how to dance, if you want to know if you can dance, you will get ample opportunities. If you have never coded in your life and you want to see how coding feels like, you will get that opportunity. If you want to market, if you want to do sales, if you want to just learn theater, or see if you are good at singing, you will get that opportunity. All it requires is to dance like no one's watching, to stop and shed the fear of being judged, and just explore these 2 years to identify who you actually are. Placements, everything else will keep on happening. That is a part of life and you will work for life. But these 2 years, identify who you are as well. So with this, I will stop myself and I will wish you all a really, really exciting 2 years ahead of you. Make sure you make the most of it. No matter what you want to do after MBA, no matter where you want to go, no matter what your expectations are, you by 10 or 15 years, when you will look back, make sure you look back and realize that you spent a lot of good memories here. Thank you so much.